Okay, good morning, children. What is second English medium? Yesterday, so far we completed second chapter. Now we are going to start the third chapter, that is enzymes. Almost enzymes are proteins which having catalytic property. Enzymes means enzymes are the proteins. Enzymes are the proteins which have catalytic property. Enzymes are the proteins which having the catalytic property. Catalytic property. Catalytic property. Enzymes are the proteins which have catalytic property. So, especially one of the important topic now we are going to discuss nature of enzyme action. Actually, enzymes are the proteins which having catalytic property. Okay, now we are going to discuss one of the important topic, nature of enzyme action. 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 What is the nature of enzyme action? So here, nature of enzyme action. In this nature of enzyme action, especially each enzyme has substrate binding site in its molecule. Each enzyme has substrate binding site. Each enzyme has substrate binding site on its molecule. Each enzyme has substrate binding site in its molecule. So, because of this substrate binding site on the enzyme, the substrate bind with enzyme, so that a highly reactive enzyme substrate complex is produced. Here you can see this is the enzyme, this is the substrate. Each enzyme has substrate binding site in its molecule. On the substrate binding site only, on the enzyme substrate binding site only, substrate bind to the enzyme. Okay. Each enzyme having substrate binding site on its molecule, so substrate bind on that region only to the enzyme. So this leads to so that a highly reactive enzyme substrate complex is produced. A highly reactive enzyme substrate complex is produced. A highly reactive of enzyme. A highly reactive substrate complex. A highly reactive of enzyme substrate complex is produced. Whenever the substrate bind with the enzyme, a highly reactive, where the substrate bind with the enzyme, substrate binding center on its molecule. Each enzyme having substrate binding site. On the substrate binding site only, substrate bind to the enzyme. So then after a highly reactive of enzyme substrate complex is produced, which is highly reactive enzyme substrate complex is produced. So this enzyme substrate complex is a short-lived factor. This enzyme substrate complex is a short-lived factor which dissociates into a product which dissociates into a product and free enzyme. Okay, which dissociates into product and unchanged enzyme, free enzyme, with an intermediary compound is there. With the formation of intermediary intermediate formation of the complex, that is enzyme product complex, EP, enzyme product complex. This enzyme product complex. This is the enzyme product complex. Enzyme product complex. Okay. This enzyme substrate complex is highly reactive, which is a short-lived factor which dissociates into product and free enzyme with an intermediate formation of enzyme product complex. Okay, so this is about the nature of the enzyme action. So here the formation of enzyme substrate complex is necessary for catalysis. For catalysis, there should be compulsory enzyme substrate complex should be formed. Enzyme substrate complex is essential for catalysis. So the formation of enzyme substrate complex, this is also explained with two theories, two hypotheses. Why? Because enzyme substrate complex is necessary essential for catalysis. Enzyme substrate complex is essential for catalysis. So this enzyme substrate complex is explained with the help of two theories, which is the first one, lock and key hypothesis. Lock and key hypothesis, which was invented by the scientist Emil Fischer. He introduced the lock and key theory to know more about the enzyme substrate complex. And another one theory also there, induced fit hypothesis. Second one, induced fit hypothesis. Induced fit hypothesis. It is induced fit hypothesis, this which was proposed by the scientist Daniel E. Koshland. Daniel E. Koshland. He introduced the induced fit hypothesis. Lock and key theory, which was proposed by Emil Fischer. Induced fit theory hypothesis, which was proposed by Daniel E. Koshland. These two theories are very important to know more about enzyme substrate complex. So, one more thing, Nani. The catalytic cycle of enzyme action. The catalytic cycle of enzyme action can be described in the following steps. Here some steps are there. With the help of some steps, we came to know catalytic cycle of enzyme action. Catalytic cycle of enzyme action. Catalytic cycle of enzyme action. Okay. Steps. Some steps are there. The steps, especially catalytic cycle of enzyme action. Okay, right? Catalytic cycle of enzyme action. Catalytic cycle of enzyme action. Catalytic cycle of enzyme action. Steps are there. Catalytic cycle of enzyme action. Steps. So here nearly 4 steps are there. Catalytic cycle of enzyme action. So here first the substrate bind to the active site of the enzyme. The substrate bind to the first one. The substrate bind The substrate bind to the active site of the enzyme. The substrate bind to the active site of enzyme and fitting into the active site. Substrate bind to the active site of the enzyme and fitting into the active site. And fitting into the active site. Fitting into the active site. Okay. Substrate bind to the active site of the enzyme and fitting into the active site. Okay, this is the first step. Second one, binding of the substrate induce the enzyme to alter the shape, fitting more tightly with the substrate. So binding of the substrate induce the shape of the enzyme. Binding of the substrate induce the enzyme to alter its shape and fitting more tightly around the substrate. Second one, binding of the substrate binding of the substrate induce enzyme to alter its shape. Binding of the substrate induce means motivate. Binding of the substrate induce the enzyme to alter its shape and fitting tight with the substrate and fitting more tight around the substrate fitting more tightly around the substrate. Okay, binding of the substrate. Whenever the substrate bind with the enzyme, binding of the substrate induce the enzyme to alter its shape. Whenever the substrate bind to the enzyme alter its shape and the substrate fitting more tightly with the enzyme, fitting more tightly to the substrate. Okay, third one, the active site of the enzyme now close to the substrate. Active site of the enzyme. Active site of the enzyme now close. Active site of the enzyme now close to the substrate. Active site of the enzyme now close to the substrate. Active site of the enzyme which is close to the substrate breaks the chemical bonds of the substrate and new enzyme product complex is produced. The active site of the enzyme now close to the substrate and it can break the chemical bonds of the substrate and breaks the chemical bonds of the substrate. Okay, break the chemical bond of the substrate. New enzyme product complex is produced and new enzyme product complex produced. New enzyme complex product produced. This is the third step. Last step, enzyme releases the product of the reaction. Enzyme enzyme releases the product. Enzyme releases the product of reaction. Enzyme releases the product of reaction. Enzyme releases the product of the reaction. Free enzymes are released. These are free enzymes ready to bind with another substrate. And free enzymes. Enzyme releases the product of the reaction and free enzymes. And free enzymes also released. These and free enzymes ready to bind with free enzymes. These free enzymes ready to bind with another substrate. Ready to bind with another substrate. Another substrate. So free enzyme ready to bind with another substrate. Okay, and runs through the catalytic cycle once again. The catalytic cycle will start. Okay, so these are the 4 steps which are there in catalytic cycle of enzyme action. The first step, substrate bind to the active site of the enzyme, fitting to the active site. Substrate bind to the active site of the enzyme, fitting into the active site. Okay, next, binding of the substrate. Whenever the substrate bind with the enzyme, fit into the active site. Okay, binding of the substrate which induce enzyme to alter the shape. Whenever the substrate fit into the active site of the enzyme changes the shape. So then substrate will bind more and more tightly with the enzyme. Whenever the enzyme shape was changed, okay, the substrate more tightly bind with the enzyme. Okay, binding of the substrate induce enzyme to alter its shape and fitting more tightly to the substrate. Okay, third one, active site of the enzyme now close to the substrate. Active site of the enzyme which is very close to the substrate. That active site of the enzyme which is very close to the substrate that can break the chemical bond of the substrate and release new enzyme product EP, new enzyme product complex is produced. Okay, finally the enzyme releases the product of the reaction. Finally product released, free enzymes are released. The free enzymes ready to bind with another substrate. Then again they can run through the catalytic cycle. Again they can start the catalytic cycle once again. So these are the 4 steps are there. With the help of the 4 steps you came to know about the catalytic cycle of enzyme action. So these are the 4 steps about the catalytic cycle of enzyme action. Okay, next topic, Nani. Continuation, next topic. Factors affecting enzyme activity. Next topic. Next topic. Factors affecting enzyme activity. Factors affecting enzyme activity. Factors affecting enzyme activity. Factors affecting enzyme activity. But what are the factors that can affect the enzyme activity? Especially 4 factors are there. These 4 factors affect the enzyme action. Okay, the first one is temperature. Temperature, pH, change in substrate concentration, and binding of specific chemicals. Change in substrate concentration, change in substrate concentration, change in substrate concentration, and fourth one, binding with specific chemicals, binding of specific chemicals, binding of specific chemicals, binding of specific chemicals. So these are the four factors which can affect the enzyme activity. First one is temperature, second one pH, third one change in substrate concentration, fourth one binding of specific chemicals. Okay, first we can see temperature and pH. So here enzymes generally function narrow range of temperature and pH. Enzymes generally function in a narrow range of temperature and pH. Each enzyme shows its highest activity at a particular temperature and pH. Generally, enzymes function in narrow range of temperature and pH. Enzymes function narrow range of temperature and pH. Generally, the enzyme shows its highest activity on particular temperature and pH. On that particular temperature and that particular pH, enzyme shows its highest activity. So that particular temperature, that particular pH is called optimum temperature and optimum pH. Optimum temperature and optimum pH. In this optimum temperature and optimum pH only, enzyme shows its highest activity. Before only I said enzymes generally function in narrow range of temperature and pressure, temperature and pH. Enzymes function narrow range of temperature and pH. Enzyme show its highest activity at particular temperature and pH. That particular temperature is called optimum temperature. That particular pH is called optimum pH. So, when the enzyme activity decreases both below and above the optimum temperature, for example, both, and especially in this optimum temperature and pH only, enzyme shows its highest activity. The temperature and pH below and above the optimum value, that can decrease the enzyme activity. Suppose if the temperature or pH is there below or above the optimum value, that can decrease the enzyme activity. Why? Because the enzymes show its highest activity only in optimum particular temperature and pH only. If the value is the value of temperature and pH below or above the optimum value, that can decrease the enzyme activity. So low temperature preserve the enzyme temporarily inactive. Low temperature preserves the enzyme temporarily inactive. Low temperature preserves the enzyme temporarily inactive. High temperature destroy enzymatic activity. So both low and high temperatures are not suitable. Low temperature preserves the enzyme temporarily inactive. High temperature destroy enzyme activity. So both low and high temperatures are not suitable. Only optimum temperature is only suitable. Why? Because at the highest temperature, in high temperature, that can destroy enzyme activity because proteins are there in enzyme. Proteins are denatured by heat because of the high temperature, because of the heat. Proteins are denatured. So that's why high temperature enzyme activity decreases. Low temperature preserves the enzymes temporarily inactive. High temperature completely destroy the enzyme. So optimum temperature is necessary. Okay. Why? Because in the highest temperature proteins are denatured. Here one graph is here they given enzyme activity. Here you can see this is the pH, temperature, okay. Here enzyme activity, enzyme activity, enzyme activity, enzyme activity by axis. Okay. So here in the optimum temperature only, so these are the graphs. So here in the optimum temperature, in the optimum pH, in the optimum temperature only, enzyme shows highest activity. If the temperature is below or above the, if the temperature is below or above the optimum value, okay, that can decrease the enzyme activity. So these are the graphs which shows the pH and temperature of the enzyme activity. Okay, next third one, what? Change in substrate concentration. How the substrate concentration will affect the enzyme activity. Substrate concentration. What is substrate concentration? Here you can see. With the increase in substrate concentration, with the increase in substrate concentration, with the increase in substrate concentration, suppose when the substrate concentration was increased, with the increase in substrate concentration, the velocity of the enzyme reaction rise at first. Suppose if the substrate concentration was increased, the velocity of the enzyme reaction also rise first. When the substrate concentration increase, velocity of the enzyme reaction also rise first. Whenever the reaction ultimately reach the maximum velocity, whenever the reaction reached the maximum velocity, which is not exceeded further by any rise in concentration of the substrate. Why? Because just first, suppose if the concentration of the substrate increase, the velocity of the enzyme reaction also rise at first. Whenever it reach highest velocity, maximum velocity, the reaction ultimately reaches a maximum velocity which is not exceeded further by any increase in the substrate concentration. Why? Because enzyme molecules are fewer than substrate molecules after the saturation of these enzymes. After the saturation of these molecules, there are no free enzyme molecules to bind with additional substrate molecules. Why? Because very less enzyme molecules are there. Why? Because enzyme molecules are very fewer than substrate molecule. Enzyme molecules are very fewer than substrate molecules. After the saturation of these enzyme, after the saturation of this molecule, there is no free enzymes to bind with additional substrate molecules. But because there is no free enzymes, already saturation is completed, no. There is no free enzymes that are ready to bind with additional substrate molecules. Why? Because before only I said, enzyme molecules are fewer than substrate molecules. After saturation of these molecules, there is no free enzyme molecules that are ready to bind with additional substrate molecules. That's why once the reaction was reached its highest velocity, once the reaction reaches maximum velocity, it is not further exceeded by any rise in the concentration of the substrate. First, substrate concentration will increase, no? The velocity of the enzyme action is rises at first. Whenever it reached maximum velocity, which is not further exceeded by any rise in concentration of the substrate. Okay, and one more thing here you can remember, one of the important one, Michaelis-Menten constant. The substrate concentration required to cause half the maximum reaction rate is termed as Michaelis-Menten constant. Substrate concentration required to cause half the maximal reaction rate. The substrate concentration requires to cause half the maximum reaction rate is termed as Michaelis-Menten constant. Michaelis-Menten constant. Michaelis-Menten constant, which is the symbol of Km. Michaelis-Menten constant means substrate concentration required to cause half the maximum reaction rate, which is termed as Michaelis-Menten constant, which is the symbol of Km. Here you can see that. Okay. So first, because of the substrate concentration, if the concentration of the substrate is increased, the velocity of the enzyme reaction also increased. Okay. So here you can see maximum value. Whenever it reaches the maximum value, it is not further exceeded because already it reached the maximum velocity. Okay. So this is substrate. Okay. If the substrate concentration increase, the velocity of the enzyme reaction also increased. Once it reaches the highest maximum velocity, it is not exceeded further. Okay. And one more thing here you can remember, substrate concentration required to cause half the maximum rate of reaction. Okay. The substrate concentration required to cause half the maximum reaction rate is termed as Michaelis-Menten constant Km. Here, the substrate concentration required to cause half the maximum reaction rate. The substrate concentration required to cause half the maximum reaction rate is termed as Michaelis-Menten constant. Okay. So, children, today we completed about the three factors we completed now: temperature, pH, and change in substrate concentration. These are the factors affecting the enzyme activity. Tomorrow class we are going to discuss another fourth factor. Okay, thank you, children.